Hey guys, this is just one guy, and this is my tutorial series, Unity for Noobs. Now, in this episode, we're gonna learn how to do a health bar and a damage system for our little first-person shooter. Now, to explain things, over the next 3 tutorials, we're gonna be going over a lot. The first one is gonna be health bar and damage. The second one is gonna be online, and the third one is gonna be not saving it to the prayer press like other ones, but we're gonna be saving it to a file. We're going to actually be writing a file on the computer and everything like a normal game would do. But first we're going to go over this little health bar. I've changed a lot of things in this game, so it's going to look a bit different. And now, as you can see, the first thing that I've changed is instead of directly going to the player, we have this little menu now. And the first thing we have is the host game, the join game, and play offline game. Now these are online functions, and this one right here is just play offline. Right now we're just going to click on that, and it immediately gives us the player. Now right off the bat, you can see we have this little health bar thing right here. And it's important to note that this health bar, it doesn't work with the old Unity because it uses the new UI system. It only works in Unity 4.6 and up. But if it was Unity 4.5, it wouldn't work in there. Now to get to it, it's just this is the player health bar, and I put in this little function that if you press A, it damages the health bar, just to show you that it is working. And as you can see, it just the health bar smoothly goes down instead of jumping and everything like that. Now the other part is, if we were to shoot an enemy, it not only damages the enemy, but it shows their health bar, and their health bar goes down too. Now the cool thing about this is, if I were to turn and shoot him, his health bar would go down instead. And as you can see, it's different for each enemy. It shows their individual health. Now I've set these enemies up so when you kill them or their health bar goes to 0, they simply disappear. You'll probably want something different, but that's just how I set it up for simplicity. And that's basically it for the health and damage system, just showing it. Now we're going to scripting. Now first we have this health bar script right here. And we just have the basic things like the maximum amount of health, the current health. And this is just the maximum amount of health the character has, the current amount of health the character has. Then we have the health bar length, which controls how long the health bar is. And then we have the actual health bar image, which we're accessing through the new Unity 6.5 system. It also works in Unity 5 too. And then we have the recovery rate. This just controls how fast the health bar goes up and down. If you wanted to move slower, you would just use a lower number, and if you wanted to go faster, use a higher number. And then we have the actual enemy. Now we need this just to show, like, if we shoot an enemy, we want to see how long their health is, how much health they got left, and this gets the enemy every time we shoot them. And then we access their health image just to modify it, just to give us a visual example of how much health they have left. Then we have the canvas. Now going forward in this tutorial series, we made the player a prefab. Well, we had to make the player a prefab just because that's the only way to do it online, and we need to save stuff. So we had to make the canvas a part of the player too. Now the canvas doesn't work so well when you parent it to the player. So immediately when the player starts, it deparents the canvas. And this is just so we can access the canvas. And then we have right here the networking script we want to access for online functions in the next tutorial. And this just gets the game manager and the networking script on the game manager, which we'll be talking about in the next tutorial. Right here, this just deparents the canvas as soon as we start the game. Then we go into the right here. I've just set it up because this health bar script works even if you don't have an image. It still works, but this is just to tell you that it would like an image, just in case you wondering why it wasn't showing up or something like that, or you got some type of error where you wasn't seeing it. This will let you know if you have an image or not. And this is just to tell you that it works even though if you don't have an image, but the script would like an image. And then this is the actual function that damaged the health. Now it's just saying if our tag isn't dead, I've just added a dead tag in here, which you'll probably have to do too. And it just says if we aren't dead, the function itself, it just takes a float, and that's how we measure the damage. And it just says that the current health equals the health damage, which is the amount of damage that was incoming. Now, if you wanted to damage an enemy, you'll make it a negative number, and if you want to heal an enemy, you'll make it a positive number. And right here, we just have a whole bunch of stuff to stop it from getting errors. Like, we don't want the health to go below 0, or we don't want to go above maximum health. And then if it's 1, we just want it to disappear. Now, right here, we changed the health bar length into a number between 0 and 1. Now, we need to clamp it just in case we have a health bar of like 1,000,000. We don't want it to go all the way across the screen, and this is why we clamp it between 1 and 0. So if you had a health bar that was like 2,000,000 and you had current health that was like 50, this will do all the math right here for you, so you don't have to figure it out or nothing like that. And then it just clamps it between 1 and 0 and gives you the number. And then this is just basically what to do if the health bar is 0, like if the character health equals 0. Right here, you might want to change it, but I just set the tag to dead, and then I set it to destroy the player. And the reason there's so much code is because a lot of this is online stuff, where it's basically telling it to kill the player online. And this is the function to kill the player online. It's just saying kill the player, destroy the player online, and then respawn them at the spawn point. And right here we have the update. I put this little function in just so you can test the health bar, just to see that it is damaging. If you wanted to heal, you just take away that negative and put an actual 10 or whatever number you want. Now in your game, you will want to remove this just in case. You wouldn't want players hitting A and damaging themselves. And plus, on the computer, they use the SWA keys or something like that to move instead of. I don't use it because I'm used to playing in on a console, so you will want to remove this just in your actual game. Now right here, this is how we actually move the health bar. We access the health bar image, and we get the fill amount, and then we use the move towards function to move it from where it's currently at to where it should be. And where it should be is determined by the health bar length. And how it does this is controlled by the recovery rate times that delta time, and that just controls how fast or how slow it moves to that to the current position it's supposed to be in. And then we have the enemy right here. We get his health transform, and if we have an enemy, it sets it at active, just so if we don't have an enemy, we're not seeing the health bar up there, but we don't actually have an enemy because it just looks ugly and stuff like that. And then we do the same thing to calculate how much health bar he should have. That's it for the health bar script, and then we have the bullet controller script. Now I've only changed a couple of things in this bullet controller script. I've added this damage enemy function, and what it basically does, it just gets an enemy, you give it, well, first I have to explain this. When the on trigger enter, it basically gets a collider, and then we access the enemy through its collider, and then it calls this damage enemy function, which basically gets his health bar, and then it calls the adjust current health function. Now right now we just got to set the -10, but later on we're going to change this into a variable, so we can, when we get to the setting RPG stats and we get into different guns and stuff like that, we want different damage, so we're going to set it as a variable later on. But for right now, just for simplicity, I set it to -10, and then I set it up to work with tags called player and NPC. The reason I've done this is you don't want to hit a wall and then it calls this damage energy function, since the wall doesn't have the health bar script. Now you can change these tags to whatever you want. Just remember, you will have to access these pretty frequently, and this is just how I set it up to work. So if it hits a transform that's tagged player, or if it hits a transform that's tagged NPC, that's what it'll call this damage enemy function. And then if it's the player instead of like the NPC or some other enemy or something like that, if it's the actual player and the player needs to see the health bar, this gets the enemy so you can see the health bar, and then it just destroys itself afterwards. Now that's it for the scripting portion. Next is the little setup. Now going forward, I made the first. That's another thing I almost forgot. It's important to note that this will only work since it's the on trigger function. It's not going to work with the regular first person shooter. It only work with the rigid body one, because we can't call on trigger enter on a character that doesn't have a rigid body. So you'll have to switch to a rigid body character. And in Unity 4, Unity 5 is basically the same, but your character does need a rigid body for this to work. Back to the setup. Now I made the setup. I made the first-person controller a prefab, and I've added the health bar script to it. That's the important one for now. I've added these other scripts, but for right now, just to set up the health and damage system. This is the only script we're worried about. Now, this is all in Inspector Open. In the beginning, you will have to set the maximum health and the current health, and that's basically it. You don't have to set the health bar length, but it's just like that right now, just because I was doing some testing. You'll have to give it the health bar image too. Now that goes into the little setup for the Unity 4.5 system. I mean the Unity 4.6 UI system. And you'll need to set up a canvas and everything like that. I don't want to go in too deep into explaining the system, but you'll just need to set up a canvas, which you can do from right here, UI and canvas. In fact, you just put image and it'll set everything else up for you. And in this canvas we have two images. We have the health bar script, and then we have the we have the health bar image and the enemy health bar image. Now you would just, after you created these and placed them everywhere like that, see the canvas. Canvas is massive. But these are where I placed mine. The enemy health bar I placed up here, and player's health bar I placed right here. You would just simply place them after you created the image and everything like that. And then once we do that, you'll put your health bar into right here where it says health transform, and then you'll put the enemy health bar to where it says enemy health transform, and then you'll take the whole entire canvas and put it right here. And that's basically it for the setup after that. And you don't have to, but going forward in the tutorials, it's highly suggested that you make the whole thing a prefab. Also, you'll need to make this canvas what's the name? You need to put this canvas inside the player controller, because when you create the canvas, it won't create like that. It'll be created outside of the player. So you'll need to make it a child of the first person controller. And that's basically it. Now just remember, you'll have to set up the tags too. In here you have to set up the tag player, dead, and probably NPC too. I haven't gotten to that yet, but you should set up that tag. But you'll definitely need the dead tag and the player tag, or you'll get enemies. And you'll also have to mark your first person controller as either player or enemy or an NPC, just so the bullets will actually affect them. And that's basically it. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to suggest a tutorial, please suggest a tutorial in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.